this is a story about prayer. Here's a picture of God up in heaven. And I wonder if any of you children tell me, what sort of person's that? Yeah, you're right, he's a sinner. He's a person who doesn't believe. Now, I wonder if you could tell me, is a person like that able to pray to God? Now, some of you have said yes, and one or two have said no. Now, actually, those who've said no are right. Because if you don't believe in God, there's no way you can pray to God. I've got a brother who's not a Christian, but I know my brother can never pray, because he's got to believe. But there's one prayer that you can say. I wonder if any of you could tell me what sort of prayer that would be. It's when you ask Jesus to come and live in your heart. You ask to be forgiven. And that happens to a lot of people. They reach the depth and suddenly they see that they've got to ask God, Jesus, to come and live in their heart. Now, I remember a man who went to my church. He was like that. And one day, he asked Jesus into his heart, asked to be forgiven. He used to drink a lot of alcohol. He was a real drunk. And all of that was taken away, never touched alcohol again. And suddenly, all that taken away, he can pray to God. And now he's a great witness to many people in that church. Now I'm going to put that back again. And this is another person. I wonder if you tell me what sort of person this is. You're right, he's a Christian. And a Christian can always pray to God. But you always pray through Jesus to get to God. It's only through Jesus that we can get to God. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth and the life. No one gets to God but through me. And when you pray as a Christian to God, you'll always get an answer. But you might say to me, well, I'm a Christian, but a lot of my prayers, I don't feel God answers. Well, you're right. It's like a traffic light. And sometimes a traffic light will say no. You know, when you're driving along and you come to a lot of red traffic lights, it doesn't make you feel mad. Say no all the time. Isn't it good when we get green traffic lights and we just go right through? Now God will say no to a lot of our prayers, probably most of them, because our prayers are very selfish. We're always asking for things for ourselves. If you were to ask God for 6 chocolate ice creams every day, what do you think God would say? He'd say no, wouldn't he? Because you'd be sick. We're always asking for things for ourselves. Now, sometimes the traffic light will say wait. And I know I've had that happen in my life. When I was real little, I remember I wanted to go to India to talk to those Hindus who worship idols. I was only aged about 8. But it didn't happen until I was aged about 65. I was able to go to India. And sometimes God will say, wait, because you're not ready for that just yet. I'll give you an example of a little child, a boy. He might pray, his birthday comes up. God, will you get Daddy to buy me that plane for my birthday? It takes kerosene, it lights up and it goes up like a rocket. What do you think God will say? Because that little kid, at his age, he couldn't do something like that. It'd be dangerous. Now you've got to wait. And sometimes God says, wait in your prayers. This is what we love to see when we get yes answers to our prayers. Now I want to tell you how you can get yes answers to your prayers. You pray for things that Jesus wants to happen in this world. Do you know when he taught us to pray, our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come on earth like it is in heaven. What does Jesus really want to see? He wants to see thousands of children coming to believe in him. And if you start to talk about Jesus to other children, you'll see answers to your prayers like you'll never believe possible. We find it happen. Man who's taking the video now, we're going to Africa and we see thousands of children asking Jesus into their hearts, because that's what Jesus wants to happen. And you'll get yes answer after yes answer to your prayers. Now I'm going to put up a third person. What sort of person do you think that sort of person is? Well, one of you said he's half good and half bad. No. He's a Christian, but he's allowed sin to come back. What happens to his prayers? And you children are always right. Yeah, that barrier gets between you and God. If you get angry with someone, you notice God seems a long way from you. It happens to me. But he's not really. It's your anger that you're getting between you and God. And God seems a long way from you. Now what have you got to do when that sort of thing happens? You're right, we've got to ask God to forgive us. And then all of that sin is forgiven and we're made clean again. And our prayers go up to God again. So when God seems a long way from you, you have a look inside and you'll find sin has come back. There's a barrier between you and God. And when you hurt somebody, you make it up to that person and ask God to forgive you. And immediately you'll feel close to God again.